Greetings, welcome to Terra Prime Live. Darth Nunham is coming to you here at Terra Prime headquarters. Today we have a show here about students. So we have our students here. We have some of our students coming in here and joining us, which will. Oh, good. All right. Let's do. There we go. Okay. There. All right. So now, as all of that chaos is going on behind the scenes, we will continue here. So yes, today we are going to be talking to a bunch of our students here, the people who are enrolled in our online program. We have a couple of council members here and some of the people who are in charge of the students. Most of what happens here kind of happens behind the scenes as of right now because of a lot of the COVID stuff and a lot of stuff. So that being said, we wanted to kind of open the curtain here again, show you what kind of happens there, talk to some of our students, because this coming week, all next week, starting tomorrow, we will be accepting new students. So people who are interested in joining up and becoming part of the family in all kinds of capacities. We'll talk about that here during the show. So let's introduce our panel here. So we've got Darth Razor, and Ben Judkins, our two knights in charge of the forum, the students, that kind of. I don't know how else to lump it in there, but these guys are our frontline knights who are doing our best to push the system through here. We've got Kai, Becky, and Justin here, and then of course Deso from Gulf Coast Sabers will be joining us here in a moment. So we will continue there. So anyway, yes, we have from the beginning, we have attempted to bring real technique, drills, martial attitude, all of the things that come through taking up a combat sport or a martial art. Because when we started, there was a pretty large lack of that. A lot of people were just kind of dabbling in it. People were doing choreography and that sort of thing. So that's kind of where we ended up. So we started our online program a few really not too much for after we formed. And of course, Darth Razor was one of our first students, and of course, the one of ours that has gone on to great things and is now a knight with us. So he can speak to a lot of the of the process. And actually, why don't we? I'll start with you then here, Razor. You started with us way back when, and now here we are with a training clan, well, two training clans, one European, one mostly North American, but those blurred lines get blurred a whole lot. What do you see as some of the evolution that we've had here with our system and teaching and all that kind of thing? How's it different from when you started?
Well, when I started in, I think it was 2013.
Yeah.
The only way to get in contact with you and Matt and Nero and all the other folks that were forming TPLA at the time was, for me, it was the Saber forum of Ultra Sabers, where I bought my sabers. And they have that combat section where you could post look for instructions. And that's where I met you. I remember that very vividly. And because there was no other way to get in contact with you, I started to post my videos there, and I got my first feedbacks to what I try to do and try to learn. I put it there, and while it was a great beginning, there were uh, a lot. There was a lot of course, to improve. It was not a, a an online system. There was no structure there. That all came later, step by step, when we formed our Facebook pages, where we met and where we formed the forum. And what we have now is the end of a piece by piece process. While you put all these training videos and form videos out, so for each form you put out the formula, the basics, and then the accelerations where we train in solo drills in each form, and the dulon as a solo drill or as a solo kata in that way, and the velocities, the two-person exercises. Um, After a few years, you put all that into an achievement system, and that was a key part of the process. The structure where you go through each of the forms step by step, get a feedback, uh, try to improve, and then you get your achievement. Your instructor says, yes, you got it, you can go on to the next step. That was a key point in that evolution, and this is still the point which supports our online structure that we have now over on the forum. I think it's a very clear, concise, structured process over there, and that's what makes it so easy for us to keep track of everything what happens there. With all the with all the things that are possible to do online and the things that are not possible to do online. But I think this is something our students and apprentices can give a much better insight on that, how it's actually feeling, how it's actually working for them. I think you're muted.
Yes, I was.
Ah,
Yeah. So the yes, the achievement system was definitely a big step forward, because at that point we had the basic bones of the system with the forms and all of that kind of thing, and we had all come from you know, methods and things that had natural progressions, so we kind of intuitively knew what progressions were going where and everything like that. But coming up with that achievement system to help track people's progress through it really kind of opened it up in that way. And it gave some good I don't know what you would call it, an objective marker of progress, right? People could look back and say, okay, I've collected all of these things, right? Instead of, you get to a point where, and this happens in training, we talk about this all the time, there's a point in training where you get to where the novelty is all worn off and it's now just the work, right? I just have to work and get better at doing this. Um, and having that, I think, easy way to, I think that's why belt systems are so popular and everything, because it's a tangible way that people can kind of like hold on to their progress and make it feel like something there. So as we talk to people out there, to our gallery here, we'll see if that has been successful or not. Yes. So Ben, do you want to chime in on here on anything before we open it up to our
I think one of the things we should for sure do is give potential students a sense of where our resources are, right?
Mm,
So if you want to be a student in the TPLA system, or even if you don't want to be a student formally, but you're interested in exploring these resources because they're all open source, where would you go to find them? And there are really three spaces out there, right? So two of them are social and interactive spaces, and one of them is our library. So let's start with the library. Where you go to find the information is our YouTube page. If you go to YouTube, you can search for TPLA. You will find a channel, and there'll be some introductory videos there. There's a lot of material, so you got to be kind of careful with it. But there's some introductory material, and if you scroll down, you'll find playlists for the first four forms of lightsaber combat. And where you really want to start is with Form 1 with Sicho, right? Find the Sicho playlist and look for the videos for the formula. Do the formula first and then the accelerations, right? Those are the first two steps on the path, right? So all of the basic teaching material is freely available to anybody, right? It's kind of open source right there on our YouTube channel. Then the two interactive places are our Facebook groups. We have the TPLA Learners in Exile page and the TPLA page. And that's where you'll find a lot of discussion about Star Wars stuff in general, but also what's going on in the community, right? And you can get feedback on what you're doing there. So if you have videos or you want to post things, and you're not a formal student yet, feel free to post it there. We'll get you some feedback. Or if you want to become a student and you want kind of more dedicated feedback, a different relationship, we also have the TPLA board, right? And that's where the people who have become students kind of have their own training threads where they post progressively, videos of them as they go through this system. And then, Razor and myself and some of the other knights and instructors, like Deso also, will come through and we'll give you feedback and we'll let you know when you have earned these achievements and when you go on to the next step in the path. So, even though we're not all in the same place, we do have a very structurally ordered way set up to get you through a pretty sophisticated understanding of swordsmanship, but with these wonderful, wonderful tools that we call lightsabers. So those are the
yes.
three resources that you as a potential student need to know about, right? The Facebook group, the YouTube channel, and the forum.
Yes, definitely. And also, as you touched on there too, even if you don't want to become a formal student with us, even if you are, kind of focused in one group or another out there with TSL or Lightspeed or something like that, don't feel like that excludes you. We like he said, all of our resources are open source. We want to benefit everybody, and all of our material can benefit every rule set and permutation that you can find out there, from choreography on down to the sporting stuff. Yes, we have our own system, our own rule set, which we're going to be doing more of and all that kind of stuff. But the teaching material that we put out there is for everybody. We in that way, we're not really a group. I mean, obviously, we're a group of people doing stuff, but we're not in a insular kind of group in that way. So please, we're everything that we do for for everybody out there in the community. So that's a very good point. We'll go into a little bit more detail on how to be, if you want to become a student, on how to do that here in a little bit. So I guess we can throw it out to well, we can go down. Yeah, we can go down to Deso and Anna here. Now they're apprentices, so they're a little bit more involved in the daily operations of stuff and stuff like that. But Deso is, of course, one of the forum leaders and contacts for the training clan, Wolf, which is one of our training clans. So yeah, why don't I throw it over to you then here, Deso?
I appreciate that. I just wanted to touch on something. Ben lays out a very good plan. Start with the beginning and move forward. When we started following TPLA in 2014, we started kind of in the middle because we just moved on down. And when we officially joined everything in 2016 and started over with the basics, we saw how much we were missing. So there is something to be said, 100% starting at the beginning.
Him talking about the various resources is very important. I tell everyone all the time when they ask me questions, you know, go talk about it on Facebook. It's a very open community. How much in the way of videos and reference there is on YouTube. And I may not be a forum person, but even I'm learning to navigate it, and the feedback you get is invaluable that you're going to find in those places.
There's a lot of really good information just waiting to be handed to you for joining and submitting even your first video. I highly recommend it going from there. I'll be one of the people that'll be reviewing it just to kind of help you get settled in. And then, of course, Razor and Ben will be joining in as well, kind of fine tuning those basics as you progress.
And one of the things I think a lot of people have worry about when they're entering into the Saber community, there's this fear of that cliquish, you have to already have a background feeling. And what I've enjoyed about it is seeing all of these different people with various interests being able to come in and they're having a good time, and it's welcome, open arms. Just if you have a desire to learn, go for it. And you actually, Anonymous, said something that I thought was really important. You guys were talking about that, the belt system and the just doing it, trying to get the achievements. It is very difficult for people to not have something tangible to, as instructors, how do you teach, value your work without having a thing in your hand? And let's face it, the thing in our hand is a lightsaber, which makes a huge difference. And we've seen a lot of people where they did go through that burnout of, well, I'm not getting anywhere. They left and then they came back and they were like, you know what? I want to try this again. And they found a joy and a fulfillment in it that they didn't have the first time. So it's different pace for everyone. Unlike some classes, you know, you don't have to worry about keeping up with everybody else. It is very much based on what can you do right now instead of there being pressure. I think that's really important for everybody.
And there's a lot of facets that have been touched on. We kind of got started because I wanted to learn how to use the sword, and then we went to, well, how do you actually, you know, combat with it? We got introduced to a little bit of choreography, and that's been great.
And it goes back to what Anonymous was saying as well, where you didn't really have the resources on formal training available. You were like, well, maybe I could come up with something, Googled it, and you guys popped up. And that's how we got going with it. So it is just that accessible for everyone, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been a really great ride. The community that is the training clans have been nothing but positive when I pop in and say hi, reviewing everything. It's all been great. Everybody's there to pump you up. That's what this is all about. It's just, if you want to do a thing, we want to help you do the thing. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Back to you.
Okie dokie. Okay, so we have one question here I want to get to before we move on, because it's kind of pertinent here, and I think we can have Razor really speak to this directly. Do you have to have a dueling / practice partner to progress? And it says, the fellow nerds in my country are in the closet with their nerdism, which is not uncommon. We have lots of people in many countries that, and we will probably talk to, at least I'm sure somebody here is going to have some sort of story like that. But Razor, yeah, you came from nothing and had nobody there and went through this. So that question, is it, what are we?
Well, you do not have to have a training partner for the first things we do here. We have a lot of solo learners in our program at the moment. That's why I would give the word to we can start with Kai, he is a solo learner from Finland.
Yes.
So I might have been the first solo learner or one of the first solo learners, but we have actual solo learners. Let's hear what they think about the system as a solo learning online experience.
Right. All right. Yes. We'll throw it over to Kai here.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep. You're on.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, yeah, solo learning. It's very different from any other martial arts or anything like that I've done before. So I've been doing boxing before and I've done kendo before, but those were with instructors. So now that I don't have an instructor or someone to do the practice with, it takes lots and lots and lot of discipline to be able to put yourself through it every day, or like the 3-4 days a week that I do it. So when you don't have someone to tell you, go out there and practice your sabering, it's very different. And when you have to look at the videos for instruction and try to figure out how does it work, am I doing it right, then you record yourself and then you see yourself and then you compare the video to the instruction video and you notice you're not doing something right, but you can't quite figure it out. That's when Fraser and everyone happily comes in and gives us the instruction and feedback that we need. Yeah, so it's great. You don't need anyone because we have good instructors here to help us out when you get to being a student. And even if you don't, well, on Facebook, you probably will get something like the people said before.
Yes. Excellent. Actually, we have a special guest here. Down in Puerto Rico, we've got the Saber Legends. So why don't we check in with them? How's it going down there? I think you're mute. There you go.
Yes. Greetings, Chad. Greetings to everybody from TPLA and Clan Lawfuls and all the other clans. This is Saber Legends. Both Victor, say hi. I'm trying to social distance because I took down my mask. The group is Saber Legends. This is our local class here in Puerto Rico. And one of Master Anonymous, I dare say, success stories of the system. And we'll get a little bit deeper into that later, but I just wanted to introduce the guys. Everybody say hi. This is everybody from headquarters saying hi. And then this is all of the group from Saber Legends. So I'm going to let them continue class. We're actually in the middle of class right now. So I'm going to let Victor keep leading class. And I'll step out so that all the noise from the class doesn't interrupt.
All right.
We actually had a Javier Rosa from Ithaca Saber visit us last weekend, and it was an amazing experience. I was chatting with Chad last Sunday, or I think it was, and it was an awesome experience because we had never met before, and he just walked into the class. He texted me if he could come in and visit us, and suddenly, just walking in, we were all speaking the same language. We were talking about, Shisho and the different accelerations, what dual on the velocities. And since we, having never met, were developed under the same system, we could all work together seamlessly without any learning curve at all. I mean, there are like little details that you can always tweak, or little details that somebody does a little bit different. They might have a different step on the dual on or whatever. But we know we're speaking the same language. And I think that's something that speaks volumes on the system that Chad and TPLA had developed. The fact that even though we've never met, we're doing the exact same thing across the world, and we can play well with each other without there any being an extensive amount of retraining or integration between one person and the other. So that was, something that made me very, very happy of having Javier visit us. It was like, proof. This works. You don't need any more proof. It's been proven. It's been, thrown to the fire, and it works perfectly. So I wanted, to throw that out there for the meeting.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to traveling again, getting back over to Europe and to other places, and connecting with everybody. So yeah, I totally hear you on that. And yeah, we all looked at those pictures with envious eyes as well. So I'm sure a lot of us, especially come November, are really going to want to come visit you.
Well, our doors are always open. You've already seen, half of our space. Now you can see some of the rest of it. So you're welcome here in Puerto Rico. We'll definitely host you, take you out to the beach, take you out, eating and having some of the local cuisine, and we'll make
Oh
you
my
fall in love
goodness.
with Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be doing an event at some point in Puerto Rico, because that's definitely. So yes. All right. So anybody else want to just give some of their impressions of the training method and how we've been doing? Becky,
just a
Justin,
second,
Jeff?
just a
Oh,
second,
yes.
just a second. You need to say happy birthday, Oreo.
Oh yes, happy birthday to
I
you
hope you had a
and
great
Roberto.
birthday up to now.
Thank you very much. I mean, I'm doing what I love, so I'm having a blast in my birthday.
There you go. Very good. All right. Yes. So we'll throw it out to one of the others. Anybody want to give some?
I want to hear from Becky.
Okay.
Becky, you want to talk about your impressions of, what the solo training is like, or the support that you get with your solo training?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't normally dress like this. So I'm getting ready for Comic-Con tomorrow, and I was trying on my outfit. So anyway, my experience with TPLA is probably somewhat unique. I actually started out in Kansas City. I live in a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri. And I started out with a group that was not um, uh, officially trained or certified in martial arts training or in lightsaber, which is what I was interested in. And so I was actually involved in that group for a little over a year. One of my classmates, who has several years of experience of kendo and karate and other martial arts, kind of took me under his wing. And I don't know exactly how I reached out to Darth Anonymous, but I found him. I think I found him on Facebook or something, and I started to just send him these pestering messages. What can you tell me about this? And what is your program like? And am I in the a weird place? And and all this kind of stuff. And I was just very, very impressed, and decided to research it some more. And when I went online and looked at the program outline, I thought, this is where I need to be. And so I went ahead and I submitted a rather perfunctory video, and they accepted me as a student. And I have just been very, very happy with TPLA. I enjoy this uh, as much as I did speed skating when I was, 30 years old, which was about 30 years ago. So I'm one of the older, I think, students. I have absolutely no martial arts background. I'm not a dancer. I have no fencing experience. I have no HEMA experience. And so I'm starting from the ground up. I feel like I have made tremendous strides with the program as it has been set up. I submit videos, which the students are expected to do, and we are critiqued on those, not in a mean way to demean you or make you feel like you're a dummy or anything. These are very based on objective information, and really encouraging. And so I have been encouraged to continue the process. It's probably going to take me many, many years, but I'm not going anywhere. And I enjoy it. It makes me happy. It gives me a social outlet to talk with like-minded people. It's a wonderful environment to learn. It's extremely mentally stimulating. And, as a healthcare professional, I am very interested in the effects of martial arts and lightsabering and how it affects staving off brain conditions such as dementia, Alzheimer's, neurological conditions. It's fantastic for balance, fine motor skills, strength, and I just love it. So I've been extremely happy, and Darth Razor and Ben are fantastic instructors. I have such high regard for them, as I do our headmaster, Darth Anonymous.
Well, thank you, thank you. All right, so as we've been saying, TPLA is an international organization. We have students all around the world, obviously Finland joining us here this evening. But we do have people from other places. We have a couple of messages from some of our other students who could not be here with us today for time zone, in some cases time zone issues, and in some cases just conflicts. But I want to throw it over to a message from one of our students from Russia in Siberia. So let's see if I can get the good old screen share going. There we go. Okay.
Всем привет! Меня зовут Екатерина, я студентка ТПЛА из Сибири. К обучению я приступила в прошлом году. В ТПЛА меня пригласил присоединиться мой наставник. Опыт дистанционного обучения у меня на тот момент уже был. Я являюсь ментором второго уровня Бродсворд Академии, изучающей гаэльскую культуру и боевые искусства. Обучаясь в ТПЛА, я познакомилась со множеством элементов восточных боевых искусств, с которыми ранее не сталкивалась. Кроме того, программа обучения способствует развитию множества полезных качеств, таких как координация движений, ловкость, чувство равновесия и баланса, а также пространственное мышление и многие другие. Хочу пожелать всем абитуриентам целеустремленности и упорства. Шаг за шагом, идя к своей цели, вы обязательно добьетесь успеха. Вот и я иду к своей цели и надеюсь в скором будущем стать первым рыцарем из России. Да пребудет с вами сила.
All right. So there we go. So that's somebody who has been, how long have they been with us, Ben or Michael? The folks in.
It seems like forever, but I know that is that is not the right answer. Michael, it's only been what? How many months has it been? It's less than a year.
Damn it. Is it half a year?
Yeah, that seems about right.
A little more, maybe, but feels like you're right. It feels like forever. They're such a big part of our community now.
They're so
Yes.
active. We see so much, from them. We have so much contact with them, which is amazing given that, we can't really have any physical contact with them at all, but they're always present.
Yes. They, Sergey and Ekaterina, who we just heard from, have been some of the most active participants in all of this. Obviously, we're talking about drastically different times, but they are definitely people to watch. We've been constantly impressed with what they do and how they've been pushing through it. So that's been they've been an inspiration even to us teaching staff.
Absolutely. I found myself looking at their videos saying, wow, I need to think about some things here.
Yes. Okay, I think we have, okay, so we have a question here. One, how does one join a training clan? What are the benefits? We'll give you all that information here at the end, so that everybody knows where to go, and such. And we'll also put all of the information in the description, of this video. So stay tuned for that as well. Okay.
Can we get Jeff in here for a little bit?
Yeah, why don't we throw it over to Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Yeah. So Jeff, could you tell us a little bit about, you've been around the lightsaber community for a while now. You have as much experience with lightsabering in North America as any of our other students. Can you tell us a little bit about your impressions of the TPLA system?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I tend to get animated and talk a lot, so I was kind of hanging back, let other people take the stage.
Get in there.
The talk
there's
show.
A bunch of different things I could say about TPLA. I mean, for one thing, just the variety of background experience. Obviously, I know you're a scholar in martial arts. Obviously, so is Chad. I have a relatively long experience with martial arts. So I get a certain level of enjoyment from TPLA kind of under the hood, like examining its nuts and bolts and its origins and those kinds of things. And I'm getting my level of enjoyment from it, just like someone who is brand new, have never picked up a sword-shaped object in their life, is also getting their level of enjoyment from that, and they're getting something from it. So no matter where you're coming from, sort of, there's something on the menu that you're enjoying. And I think that says a lot to the system. Yeah, I've been in with the lightsaber thing for a while now, like, a lot of the other middle-aged people here. The TPLA has kind of, been a proof of concept through the tragedy of the whole world has experienced. I mean, it's demonstrated resiliency that other things do not have. And I would offer, I think part of the success there is it is sort of a hybrid model, because it isn't just a watch a video, learn by yourself model. It's watch a video, learn by yourself, but then get mentorship. And I think it's that hybrid approach which makes it really effective and resilient, and sort of bridges the gap a little bit between, the best, of course, we all be in person somewhere, versus what you often see in the martial arts, scammy world of buy my 15 DVDs and I'll never speak to you again, right? So there's two ends in the martial arts world. And I think TPLA does a really, really solid job of still making it personal, still providing individual mentorship. As a system, I love it. Again, we all get our different thing from it. And I have a background in sword arts. I just love the sword anyways. And TPLA certainly has elements from multiple traditions. But to me, as a guy coming from different cultural backgrounds, it comes across as sort of Chinese-centric. And I actually enjoy it for that, because it's given me a sense that there is an underlying culture and tradition to it. That if I want to go down crazy rabbit holes, learn about the Jin or Tao, whatever, I know it has a kind of a frame of reference to the lightsaber system I'm studying. The big thing I think I like as sort of a traditionalist is TPLA still sort of has an ambiance of being like a traditional martial art, in the sense of not a hardcore way, but in a sense of kind of like being a way of the lightsaber. And I like that, because it's saying that you don't have to do this as a competitor. This doesn't have to be about tournament fighting. If this is, serving that Budo aspect of martial arts, it's providing a platform for self-development that doesn't necessarily have to be competitive. So you can study it that way, from a historical, as odd as it is to talk about the history of a fictional weapon, but from a historical perspective, or you can be the competitor. You can try to use this and the various rule sets that are out there. Of course, obviously, the TPLA is involved in. So there's a lot of really valuable insight I know I've gotten from doing something that wouldn't have been my first choice as far as not being in person. But context has forced me into that and going, okay, I'm getting more from this than I thought I would, as far as the whole digital, distance between us all.
Yeah, no, I
Can I
agree
jump in and say one other thing here, Chad?
Yeah.
just as something that Jeff was saying there, in terms of us trying to, be a hybrid model, there are lots of ways that TPLA instruction can work. So, right now we're opening up a training clan, for, students in exile, basically people who don't have training partners, who don't have schools. But, as you can see with Saber Legends there in Puerto Rico, who we were just visiting, the TPLA system is also supported by in-person schools. So we have our school in, Puerto Rico. I started Ithaca Sabers in Ithaca. Javier, who went down to Puerto Rico, as my apprentice, right? I learned at another, TPLA school called the Gathering of Sabers. Chad has classes. So the TPLA model can, it is all the time used for in-person instruction. Deso and Anna run classes with in-person instruction. I'm sure before long, we'll probably have training classes going on in Russia, with in-person instruction. But the great thing about this is that we can also easily adapt it to solo instruction, and then you can go back and forth between the two. So when COVID hit, we actually had a really easy thing to do. We had everything we needed in place. Even if you had been an in-class learner, you could just seamlessly, continue on. Likewise, if you've been an in-class learner, you can walk into any TPLA school in the world and you can cross blades with people, and you'll know pretty much what's going on, or you'll be able to get up to speed really quick.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that I had, both me and Matthew had gone into this with a way of bridging the islands of martial arts that we have. So our goal is that if you learn this, you may actually have an inroad into almost anything that you want to do. Because you'll be like, oh yeah, that's like this, or that's like this. Now, what Jeff says, yes, it is a bit Chinese centric right now because I'm the lion's share of the material being produced. But I do want to stress that the principles that we're laying down, we attempt to be drawing on every tradition that we can, find that middle, that Venn diagram overlap, right, and expand from there. That's sort of the idea of it.
Yeah, I didn't mean that to come across as pejorative in any way.
Oh, no. I'm just saying it.
There's obviously some, as you know, there's some universal truths to anytime you're swinging 3 foot of steel. And certainly I know with my eye, I see a little bit of the HEMA come out in TPLA as well. I just mean as its core gestalt, it feels Chinese to me.
Yes.
But I agree with you as far as, and TPLA is organic, so I'm sure you'll grow and add things or revamp things or allow us to take different branches for those of us who really invest in years or whatever. I just, for me, because it's a bit of a personal bias because my background isn't Chinese. I've studied a lot of Japanese stuff and European stuff, and the Japanese stuff certainly butts up against the Chinese stuff sometimes. But it's never been my wheelhouse. So and I'm, thinking back to watching Kung Fu theater and my being enamored with the Wu Dang tradition and how cool and mystical that is, so I kind of get sucked in that way with it. Yeah, but I agree. I mean, and the other thing is, because I am a swordsman, by thinking of it, TPLA is me sort of a Chinese-ish flavored martial art. It lets me keep my HEMA in another box in my head, if you will. Mm-hmm. In my Japanese in another box. Not that you can't mix and match those boxes, but it just helps me organize it and get my personal enjoyment from it in a certain way.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with how anybody uses any of it. So that is the case. So okay, we've got another message from one of our students here. We don't have subtitles for this one. It is in French. So why don't I just go ahead there? This is our friend Alex.
Bonjour à tous, c'est Alexandre. Je suis éducateur sportif à l'Académie de Saint-Brézard de Reims en France. Je suis là pour vous dire quelques mots sur le système TPLA, un système que j'ai découvert il y a 5 ans en cherchant des contenus sur YouTube pour construire des cours. Depuis, j'ai passé des diplômes d'éducateur fédéral à SNFFE auprès de la Fédération française d'escrime. Je continue toujours d'utiliser le contenu que nous apporte TPLA pour construire mes cours. Je suis aussi apprenti au sein du système. Je suis actuellement en train de passer mes badges de la forme 2 type Makashi. J'ai hâte d'être à la rentrée sportive de septembre pour continuer de développer mes propres compétences en sabre laser et transmettre tout ce que j'apprends grâce au contenu de TPLA à mes élèves. Je vous ai dit essentiel et je vous dis à bientôt pour de nouvelles infos sur le système TPLA. Ciao, ciao.
All right. So there we go. Another message from somebody across the globe. Justin, how about you haven't said much.
Yeah, I'll pop in here real quick. It's
Yeah.
been such a great conversation. I didn't see anywhere to jump in, so I'm just going to let you guys all
That's
have at
okay.
it.
Jump in now.
Something I'd like to talk about, I think Deso and Jeff both mentioned it, is how it's kind of it's called a solo training system, but really what it is a mentorship program. Can't really place enough emphasis on the importance of the feedback that we receive. Being someone who was kind of an observer with TPLA for a long time and, never really got any kind of feedback or anything like that. When I finally started training with the group and started receiving feedback, it was quite a different experience. When I first started, when I got into sheet show, I think I spent about 10 minutes with the formula, 10 minutes with the acceleration. It's like, okay, I'm good. I got it. From there I went into the Dulon, submitted that video, got my feedback, got accepted as a student, went back to the beginning, started through the formula again and started receiving my feedback. And it was quite a different experience from, what I thought I understood versus what I actually understood. So, if there's anyone out there thinking, on the fence about becoming a student, I'd say, do it. It's definitely worth the experience. It's a great group, and I can't recommend it enough. I think you're still muted.
There we go. So yes, we have a lot of people, Razor, Ben, myself, we've got other instructors as well who are all able to give, feedback from different areas. I think, yeah. All right. So yeah, so the do we have any other questions here? Okay, yeah. So I think, yeah, Justin mentioned and kind of touched on the, the benefits of the training plan. And that's the whole thing. The whole idea of learners in exile is that for people who are, in places that don't have this type of thing available to them, people who are in remote areas, people who have, jobs that prohibit them from going to classes during the times that classes are normally offered. All of these modern situations kind of combine to create kind of isolate people who can't necessarily get into what they want to get into because it's not available to them for whatever reason. And we do our best to bring, not only to bring, okay, we want to help you improve and have you get to the place that you want to be. But there's also, we're building a community, right? We understand that a lot of us, especially us from traditional martial arts, there is the kind of dojo or class environment. where you go and you are either all in uniform or you have some sort of identifying mark. Everybody's together, everybody practices together, trains together. It becomes a kind of social event. And we're trying to recreate a lot of that because that forms a big support system in the best cases, where you have lots of fellow practitioners who are practicing beside you, can help give you motivation when you're feeling low or when you're getting frustrated with something or you're starting to plateau in something. Because I mean, probably one of the hardest things for people to hear, especially when they start working with people, is just keep working on what you're working on, right? But there is that point where it's like, okay, we've given you this lesson and we see you haven't quite gotten this lesson yet. Just keep working on it, right? And it may have gone on way longer than you thought it would go on, right? But it's just one of those things. Having a group of people around you to help push you through that is often very, very helpful, I think. So
Yeah, I would like to chime in there. It's when Justin said it's a mentorship program. Yes, it is. But what you said is so important. It's the feeling of we are a group of people who are doing the same thing, and we are kind of a class. Justin is from Clan Lothwolf, and you all that support you get from your fellow clan members and the support you give, it is relationship building, and this actually happens in the clans. It happens with us all. Yeah. So Justin, this is something I would like to throw out to you. Can you say one or two sentences? You are a solo learner too, like Kai, like me, like how important is that that let's call it this social structure of this clan for you in your work? Yeah, you decided to pick up the saber, you decide every day to pick it up again. How important is the background to have your fellow Lothwolves around you?
I would say it's crucial. I mean, it's very motivating. Like if this was something that I was just doing, by myself in my backyard and just wasn't part of a group, I don't think I would still be doing it. I mean, because I've made friends in this group, I have teachers in this group, and the interaction within the clans is, I think, a big part of what pushes me forward and keeps me doing this. So, and it's not that, I wouldn't, because I've always had an interest in this stuff, but especially now that that the pandemic's hit and I can't go necessarily physically find a school and be part of that group or that class structure. This does a pretty good job of replacing that, I think. And even now that things are starting to open up a little bit and I could probably go find a physical school to train at, I'm kind of holding back on that because I'm a part of this group and this is, what's fulfilling me right now.
interesting.
Can I say something about this as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I really love watching my clanmates videos. I've seen like all of them. If I'm not up to date, I haven't refreshed my browser today. So yeah, I'm really, really looking at everybody's videos, and they're so good for reference because the TPLA videos, they show it from one angle, one direction, but when you see other people do it a little bit different camera setup and angle and so on, so you pick up some stuff you didn't pick up in the TPLA videos. So it's really great, and seeing them stumble at some point and then getting over the thing, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I also want to mention too that yeah, the sharing of the videos, and with the clans has been really, really great to watch. And that's the thing too. This is how teachers learn from their students, because when we teach a form, right, people come at it from their own way. And even when they're having difficulty, there'll be something that happens that may even go like, huh, I've never even thought of that. Right. I had never thought, oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Of course you have to put your hand there. I'd never thought about it because it came naturally to me. But, you have to explain it to somebody, which gives you a deeper understanding of what you're doing. And I think that goes for every level of development. So I really enjoy that. I don't, I don't much care for the critiques on people's forums when somebody posts a video or something like that, unless there's something like, you might want to, unless they're asking for specific feedback or something, or they're doing something that's going to be injurious to them. It's good enough just to have that stuff out there, because it does, as you said, not just physical angles, but different, cognitive angles coming to these things as well. So
I could just add a couple points, because I wanted to kind of piggyback on something Ben said earlier. This whole time, I've sort of had as my main screen our class in Puerto Rico, because it's been fun to watch those guys train.
Yes.
And it goes, and I guess I'm speaking to an older crowd who may have looked at this, because as you guys know, there's a lot of martial artists who would look at this and go, that's not a legitimate martial art. My inner nerd wants to jump into that, but my ego won't let me, right? And so as someone who's been down that road myself, I can say without question that there's depth to the system, because I've spent all this time looking under the hood, and I can clearly see the principles. That's important to note, but it's also really important to note the delivery method, because there really is a really cool guerrilla grassroots approach to this, like planting TPLA cells around the world, if you will. And the way the content is delivered online, you sort of have a ready-made class format if you needed one. Let's say you've never done anything like this. You're off somewhere by yourself. You've never even been a teacher before. Well, you just by following the way the content is delivered, you sort of have a class structure you can rely on. So there's a really cool resilience in that too. I mean, and so the Puerto Rico guys, in many respects, they represent a goal, right? So they're the cell we want to achieve. And there's a lot of, of course, can be added to over time or tweaked or whatever, but there's initial ingredients that's sort of lightsaber in a box, that you can go from beginning to end with as you progress through the forums and you're trying to teach others who may be as inexperienced as you are. So there's a lot of value to that.
I want to jump right off of that and kind of encapsulate what you, Jeff, and you, Justin, were talking about in tandem almost. As a couple that have been training people in person for a while and then having to go to remote learning and give feedback online, it has almost the exact same feeling when you have people that are pumping each other up, that are pushing each other, that are saying, no, you've got this, you can do one more attempt at this, today. Make sure, hey, did you guys drink water today? And just having that community feeling in person and online, it's there and it's waiting.
Yes, very true.
The cool thing about this too is, like, as long as you have an access to the internet, class is always in session.
Yes, that is very true. Also, we have a Discord server, which we will be doing more and more events on too. So people who join up and are students, we have events like that coming up as well as classes, and that sort of thing, that the students get to do. So anyway, okay. Do we have anything to add, or we've got one more message from a student. I think maybe play that, and then we can give a little bit of, oh, what do we got?
We do have one more question in the comments, and it is, what age ranges are you finding signing up and participating?
Oh, well, you have, at this point, you have to be 18 to be an online student. Just for legality's sake here in the United States. We can't really have people, doing it unsupervised, as it were. So to become a student, you do have to be 18. But as far as everything else goes, we have, as we know, we have everybody from 18 to 60. So
and if you're in a school, I teach people as young as 11 and 12 all the time, and
oh yeah,
they have no trouble picking up a lightsaber. So there are ways to get teens and tweens into lightsabering as well.
yes, absolutely.
But
And
also, sorry.
No, just go ahead.
I was going to say, I know some people feel apprehensive because of their age, and there is no age limit on wanting to learn this. We've heard from a variety of different age groups on what they do, and I think that's important to remember. You're not too old to jump into this. Go for it. You never know till you try.
Very true. Okay, let me play this one last message, and then we will tell people some of the details about how to join up. So,
hello, I'm Taylor, and I'm a member of Clan Lothwolf here with TPLA. So I was kind of grafted into the clan, where I started off just posting on the forum as an initiate initially. And after a while, Darth Razor and Ben came along and were like, hey, we've got this clan thing over here. Would you like to join it? And I'm like, sure, sounds great. And everyone in the clan they were great. They're like, oh, welcome to the clan. Let's get going. And we're just super welcoming. So immediately I figured out that TPLA is very much a community, particularly within the clan structure. We watch each other's progress. We interact with each other. I copy off the progress of those who are ahead of me. And every once in a while we'll do like a clan challenge or an online get together just to interact and maintain the community. So there's that, but also it's of course been a great learning experience where I'm here because I want to be Darth Maul or Yoda, or pick your favorite saber wielder. And in theory I can go onto YouTube and just watch the videos and learn the moves myself, but when you're in a system where you've got instructors who've gone through the system themselves giving you feedback, it's like, whoa, there is so much more going on in these forms than I initially noticed. Getting the highly specific feedback from Darth Razor, and then you see just how many places you have to improve, just where all you're getting everything wrong, and getting help to fix everything. So it's been a great challenge to go through the system. So all in all, I am quite happy that I stumbled upon TPLA and quite grateful that I've been able to join the community.
All right. So there you got it. Another one of our students. I'm not sure. Where is he? Where is Taylor? Ben or Michael?
I am not 100% sure, to tell you the truth. He lives in cyberspace, as far as I know. It always
Yes.
looks warm where he is, but yeah.
Goodness.
Yes. So there you
Maybe
go.
he's AI. Maybe he's not a real person.
No,
Maybe.
I think it's Tennessee, but I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him. But I
Yes,
think
we all will.
he lives along the east
No.
coast, I believe.
We're all so far flung, and we all come together so kind of easily. It's hard to really, compartmentalize that we're in totally different places for most of the time. So I find that. All right.
Well,
Okay,
well,
so oh yes, go ahead.
We have one fellow council member here from Canada
Oh
who
yes.
has been very good. Maybe Eric, maybe you can chime in and tell us something about what keeps you with TPLA.
Well, it's right now I'm having a difficulty recording my progress. I'm gonna seek a solution out on Amazon on my birthday recently. What I love about the TPLA system and have also since 20 is the fact that not been in as good of shape in high school, and I was on the swim team, and that's from swinging around an aluminum tube, the carbonate tube, and that. So it's amazing what just even like 20, 30 minutes can do for you, even as just a 44-year-old retail store worker. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. You know, anybody can do this. And to reiterate, the feedback has always been. It's never been insulting. It's always been constructive, and you know, it allows you to look at your own progress honestly. And I really enjoyed the honesty that came with TPLA. They're not just there to blow smoke up your you know, whatever the saying goes there. It's a family show, but it's I've always loved PLA because the fact that well, A, you're swinging a lightsaber around. It does keep you in shape, even if you're just in maintenance mode and just doing 20 minutes a day and still waiting for the camera to arrive and be able to record your properly. But yeah, the other thing, it's just sabers. I've really been getting into making sabers. This is this is my first ever saber that I made. So with this, now that it's a personally made saber, I look forward to stuffing this with electronics and then swinging this around on said camera that I am willing to start laying down the progress again. I am looking really forward to that, and yeah, just the community is really welcoming. It's not intimidating at all. So if you are looking to join TPLA, don't feel like, oh, I don't know anything about this. Neither do I. And you know, it's just fun. Just give it. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Okay, so there you have it. We have talked to a couple of people going through it. Now, for people who have made it through to this point, where do you go to hook up with us and to do this? The first place you can go is onto the forum. Michael, Ben, do you want to tell them where they can find?
Yes, sure. When you register, you first have to register on the forum. Then you get into the member section. It is the only section you can see as a yet not accepted student. You get into the getting started section and put your request in the student roster there. It's very easy. It is everything is explained there. Put your name in there. Say that you want to be a student with us, and we will then open your very personal training space on the forum, where you can then submit your video for us to show where you are at the moment. So.
And of course, you can Google the forum, but we will also put a link, you know, right in the bottom of our you know, YouTube video here. So just scroll down and you'll find a link to the forum.
Yep, right in the description. I've also put it in the live chat that's going on right now. So if you're watching right now, it's in there. You can also go to Facebook. We have it as an event. So go to our Facebook page, Terra Prime Light Armory, and go to events, and you will find it in there. We'll also have the link to the forum and everything for you there. If you're part of one of our Facebook groups at this very moment, you'll probably see the link go through there a bunch of times. And if you look in the descriptions, the forum is also right there. And what you're going to do when you want to submit something is the first thing we're going to do is just have you do a minute to 2 minutes of what you want to do, right? So whether it's a form or if it's free form or something like that. And what that is just so that we can get a handle on where you are. Just as, okay, so what's your physical and movement capabilities at this point? How are you thinking about these things and all of that? Once we get in there, we have something to go on, and then we will give you instructions from there. And then the adventure begins. So I don't know, does anybody have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I just some of the things that you had worked on and we had talked about before, Chad, because as a guy, like a lot of us who wants to see this turn into like literally a neo tradition that people can fully invest in. And just to the age thing, I mean, Becky may be first in age. Some of us are probably neck and neck tying for second in age. So this can be solely a path for just personal excellence, physical development, or it can be a path that's competitive if that's what you're into. And I'm going to go, hopefully we're coming into fighting season next year. But, so you've got either approach for that. And I think that's important. But the other thing you had talked about, and, we're in the development is like a unarmed approach to this. I think that's cool as far as offering a tradition, because and I look at younger people who almost have a knee-jerk rejection of orthodoxy of any kind, right? For a variety of reasons. We're providing, in a format like this, a tradition in which they can still receive that kind of fulfillment if they, again, want to pursue this as a path,
Right.
So having an unarmed approach, and I'll just throw this out here as a fun idea I've toyed with before, is show or calligraphy. I don't know what you call it in Chinese, but it would be cool to do that with Orabesh. Just as kind of one more thing you could add to sort of to make a more well-rounded tradition as a path of pursuit. But I don't know if you wanted to share with us updates on the unarmed approach or where you're going with that, et cetera.
Yeah, we don't have any updates on the Terraskasi thing.
Fair enough.
all in development, but this is the kind of stuff that you will get inside scoops on when you're sitting around the fire with us. So
I'd like to bring up something on the age thing. Chad, your teacher, your and Damon's teacher, Yu Chung Wei, who gave a lot of inspiration for your Form 7 and his Form 5 and things of that nature, was already at middle to advanced age when he developed his style of fighting and became a champion fighter with a sword and continued to be dominant in said field up into his 70s. I've been online, I've looked at some of his videos right before his passing, and he was still amazing. You don't have to, there's no age limit. It is literally, you do your best and you grow from there. That's what this is for.
The Chinese idea is that you actually don't hit your prime until you're 60, because that's when you have enough, you've gathered enough experience and stuff like that you can use what you have wisely and all of that. That's why in most of the Chinese traditions there's so much building up and there's not a lot of choosing, right? We're not trying, so just get as much as you can, because when you hit your peak, then all of that stuff will come through kind of naturally. It's like a marinade, right? If you want that flavor going through the entire dish, you have to marinate it for a good long while, right? Patience, anyway. So there it is for you, everybody. Please check the description to see to get a direct link to the forum. Also check us out on Facebook. Yeah, I guess those are those things. You can go ahead, share this, our other videos, all of that stuff. Bring your friends. We are looking, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. So whatever your ideas of what you want, where you want to take this stuff, we can help. So here we are, a little bit over, but that's okay. It's a good discussion. Thank you to our knights, Michael, Ben, Razor, and Benjo Sun. Thank you to our students, Kai, Justin, Becky, and Aro, and Jeff, and our council member, Eric, apprentice, Deso, and Anna. Thank you to all of you for tuning in. We will see you next time. Patience, practice, perseverance. Happy sabering. Okay.